Hey friends, it's Lauren Taylor. Thanks for joining me in my craft room today for a Pretty Pink Posh video. I'm excited to continue with another box card this month. This time we're going to be working on an Independence Day or 4th of July for the US holiday box card. So of course I have my Scallop box card dies, my sentiment strip dies, and I'm going to use the Sentiment Celebrate from the gift card bag dies. I also have the fireworks stencil. This is a single layered stencil. I'm going to use these firework or firecrackers from the big celebration cupcake dies, and I also did a ton of die cutting with these 4 smaller stitched star dies. So I used a combination of different types of red and blue cardstock that I had in my stash, some solid cardstock, some glitter, some holographic, some shiny. I did die cut my scallop box card base dies out of some white cardstock, and then I have some confetti. This is the blue shimmer confetti mix for later on to decorate my box card. So I want to start with my stenciling. I'm going to be using some Lunar paste. This is silver lining, but I want to add some color first. So I have a piece of white cardstock. I'm just getting my stenciling set up here. I'm going to be using Blueprint Sketch and Lumberjack Plaid with some blending brushes, and I'm just going to like randomly add ink all over this background. Well, at least where I know that my stencil will cover it. So I didn't do the whole paper, but at least a 6x6 size for my stencil. And I apologize, I'm a little shaky. I'm a very aggressive ink blender, so I will fast forward a bit here. But I just went back and forth between the colors to create a fun design. I really have no kind of rhyme or reason. I'm not even really blending these colors together. I'm just getting red and blue onto this white cardstock. Once I'm happy and I can see that my fireworks will cover the ink, I'll go ahead and tape this onto my cardstock. It's a little too big to stick to my grip mat, so I'm just going to use some repositionable tape to keep that stencil in place. And then I'll grab a palette knife and a scraper to use with my Lunar paste. So again, this is a silver color. I'm going with the colors that match the cardstocks that I picked. So again, that red and blue and holographic colors, I thought silver would blend in really nicely. So I'll go ahead and keep adding that paste through the stencil until I get everything covered. I'm going to do a quick scrape and add any of the excess back into the jar so I could save it for a future project. I'll go ahead and set my supplies aside, and then we'll do a stencil reveal, which is my favorite. And I just love how this silver turned out on the red and blue ink. I think it turned out really pretty. Has a nice subtle shine. Lunar pastes are some of my favorite stencil paste to work with. And now I will clean up my desk and give that background some time to dry. So while it's finishing up drying, I thought we could do some assembly work. So I'll go ahead and adhere my box card together. So I'm starting with folding on the perforated flaps for the backing, and then also for these 2, I call them shelf pieces. I'm going to use one of them to close up the box card and the second one to create a little shelf in the middle of the box card so I can adhere some of my stars to the inside of the box as well. So I added some double-sided adhesive tape on all of the flaps of my 2 shelf pieces, and I'm going to start by closing up my box. I wish I would have added my inside piece before closing up the box, so you could definitely do it either way, but I think it's easier to add that shelf in the middle before closing up the box, but I just was getting excited to make my card and I didn't really think that through. But that's okay. I'll peel off the release paper off this inner shelf piece, and I'm going to stick it on the inside of my box. So here I am trying to think, okay, how will I get this in without it getting stuck constantly to the sides? And I definitely got stuck a couple times, but it's achievable. So I'm just placing it inside, and I'm looking at it before really pressing those flaps down to make sure it looks centered and straight. So I keep getting it, like pulling them off back and forth, and once I'm happy it looks level, it looks straight, I'll go ahead and really press those flaps in on the inside. Next, I'm going to adhere my 3 little firecrackers or fireworks together. There's a little flap that, or not flap, but a little extra piece that kind of sticks out from the firecracker, the center rectangle piece. And I'm going to glue the triangles for this particular firecracker onto that little extra piece that sticks out. And I'll repeat that for the other 2 as well. And then for the tail end, I'm adding glue to the very top of the tail end and tucking that behind the rectangle centerpiece. And that's how I layered the firecracker or fireworks together for all 3. And finally, I will grab my tweezers to hold my celebrate sentiment, and I'm using some liquid adhesive behind all of those letters. I will tap off any excess glue with my finger and wipe it off on a towel and glue that to the sentiment strip. This is kind of the more medium-sized scalloped piece. It just fit perfectly with the word celebrate, so that's why I die cut that out of the red, and it will layer nicely onto the front of my box card. So now I have everything ready to go except for the scallop pieces that I'm going to die cut from the scallop boxcar dies out of my stenciled background. It's a pretty hot day today for me here in Southern California, so it was dry pretty quick. So I'll go ahead and get my scallop pieces die cut. I'm going to do the arch, the 2 kind of trapezoid side pieces, and I will die cut 2 of the rectangles because I have that front piece and a middle shelf as well in my box card. I'm going to use my tape runner to add adhesive on the backs of all of these pieces. So I'll start with the scallop, get that adhesive onto that piece, and get that centered onto the back of my box card. It's also a great way to add an area to write a sentiment if you'd like to on the back side of the box card as well. My 2 rectangle pieces, I kind of wanted to stagger so the red and blue kind of mix match. So I have red a little bit more on the left in the background, and here I have the blue more on the left. And then when I glue the front rectangle, I'll go back to red. I just really wanted to create a fun kind of mix match of that red and blue design throughout the box card. And finally, I will add these side pieces, again just using my tape runner to add the adhesive on the back and then place it onto the corresponding space onto the box card. So I have the left side and now the right side. Now for adding the rest of my elements, I will be bringing in some foam adhesive. I just really like how you can still add foam adhesive behind different pieces on the box card, but I will be using a thinner foam. This is going to be 1 millimeter thick. So I'll add some foam adhesive to the back of my scalloped sentiment, peeled off the release paper, and then I will adhere that to the front of my box card. Next, I'm going to work on adding my stars. So I'm going to start with the background. So I'm adding a solid red cardstock star, and then I will add in the holographic star, another larger one, and then finally this blue, kind of dark blue shimmery cardstock onto the back as well. Again, since this is for the US holiday, I'm doing red, white, and blue, so that's why I went in that color order, white just being holographic for this card. Now I'm going to layer on a firework, again using that 1 millimeter foam. I will overlap a little bit with the red star, so for the tail end, because it's adhering to the back, I did double up on that foam so it felt flush all the way across the firecracker. I'm going to add in a few more, this time smaller stars, to the center piece. So trying to mix match how my colors are laying onto the box card, as well as mixing up the types of paper. I die cut stars out of so many different types of cardstock, so I'm just adding them kind of randomly, giving it a very fun random feel. I'm also going to add a couple stars to the sides of the box card since I cut so many. They won't go to waste. I have a lot of extras, but they will go on other projects. I'm also adding a star to the back side of my shelf piece on the inside of my box card. I added one here in holographic cardstock and now in red, just really trying to make them pop off the box card. Once I was happy with how many stars I had and my 3 little rocket ships were not rocket ships, my 3 little firecrackers or fireworks are on there. I guess they could be rocket ships depending on what you want to use your imagination for these products. I'm going to add a few of those blue shimmer confetti mix sequins around the card. I believe about 9 total. So I've got a bunch on, like 3 on the back, 2 on the middle shelf, and then 1 on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 7 sequins total. But just have fun with adding them throughout the card. It just adds a little extra shine and fun. I just really wanted to bring in some of that, more blue color to the card. Here's a final look at how my box card turned out. I thought this was a lot of fun. You can definitely switch up the colors and theme if you want to make this for New Year's or a different type of celebration. You definitely don't need to do red, white, and blue. You could do any other color scheme. I'd love to know what color combination you would do, so let me know in the comments, and let me know what you think I should do for the month of July for August, since there really aren't any holidays. Definitely leave me a comment for some ideas. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!